Now we're about to talk about a third, the Houston Rockets. What's next for Houston? Daryl Morey left. Mike D'Antoni left. Daryl Morey wrote a heartfelt letter.
We don't care.
He said that, I know sometimes I wake up and I'm sad about the way that I have not surrounded James Harden with players to win, and that's true. Everybody's sad about that, especially in Houston. But what's next for Houston? That's the real question. What's next for Houston?
First of all, that's a ridiculous statement. Daryl Morey has been on record saying how he believes this team could win the chip. He believes that team to win can chip. And now you come out with that silly statement, talk about, oh, I'm sorry.
You can finally be honest.
You could have been honest.
You said about Joe Douglas, remember? Sometimes you're not going to go out and say my team has no chance to win the chip.
But you can go out and say, see, NBA, you could tell.
Especially when you've made moves to try to win.
You could tell when a GM is like, you could tell when a GM walks out, he says, we're going to compete. I feel like we can win. And then a GM comes out and says, no, I think we can win the championship this year. There's a different level. You could tell by their body language. And he really believed that those teams that y'all put together could win the championship.
I don't know if he truly believed it with the Westbrook team, but I think
with
that
the Chris Paul team,
he believed it, but
should've.
I believe they could have been a championship team with Chris Paul, especially the year that they inevitably lose Chris Paul to the injury and blow that 3-2 series lead. That was a team that should have been in the finals. They just didn't perform in games 6 and 7.
And
they
Chris
didn't
Paul
shoot
was
the
out.
ball well enough.
The
Chris
bottom
Paul was
line
out.
is that James Harden's best teams were during the Warriors' peak, and not the Warriors' peak without Durant.
With Durant.
It was
which is
with
the
Durant.
greatest team in NBA history.
Exactly. It's just unfortunate. It was bad luck. But what's next for Houston? They don't have a coach right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. That's the first thing you got to figure out, who's going to coach.
I like Jeff Van Gundy to coach.
You think so?
I like Jeff Van Gundy.
I'm sorry. You guys need a big man. This small ball, not a big. Okay, let me not say like a center. You need a versatile big. Yeah, like you need a big who can still be on the court when you play 5 out, but still go down and guard bigs on the other end. Because this playing 6-7 centers is not fitting. Because you got beat by your own game in the playoffs. AD
because
and
Westbrook couldn't shoot.
Which you knew that walking in.
No, that was their downfall though.
Yeah, and then AD went small, and LA essentially said, we're gonna go small too. We're gonna beat you at your own game. If you get a guy
and leave Westbrook open.
Yeah, okay. If you get a guy, because he's gonna get left open every time. If you get a guy who can stay in the game like a Miles Turner, who can still shoot 3, he can also guard the 4 to 5. He can be a big and be essentially a wing, then you guys will be fine. But you guys are playing 6'5" centers and 6'8" power forwards. It's not going to work.
And at the end of the day, as much as the league has transitioned to guard-heavy, shoot-the-ball, 5-out offenses, there are still huge big man threats in the league. Jokic, Embiid, Anthony Davis, that's just the 3 that come to the top of your head. And you're going to have to guard those guys if you want to win a championship. They saw it with the Lakers. At the end of the day, they had to guard Anthony Davis, and they didn't have – you could argue P.J. Tucker, but realistically, as much as he put up a good fight, he cannot guard Anthony Davis.
And that was another problem with the Clippers. 6'7" Montrezl Harrell, you cannot guard the Joker. It's in the field, but he's not a big man.
And that was their downfall. You looked at it, the way they defended him was they would throw double teams at him, and Jokic would throw the second swing pass. And their defense did not adjust whatsoever.
That was their mistake.
And I'm sorry,
Jokic,
P.J. Tucker is not 2016 Draymond Green. I'm sorry that you guys, the Rockets, think that,
I don't think they think that.
No, they do. You're trying to copy this Warriors playbook.
I think that they were trying to do everything they could to fully buy into this 5-out system, but they didn't have the perfect personnel.
You didn't have the fits.
And in order for it to work, you need to have the perfect personnel.
And the personnel that's not perfect for this system is Westbrook.
That's fair. But I think even if you had Chris Paul instead of Westbrook, I don't think that they're a champion.
If they had Chris Paul, they don't trade away Clint Capella, and I 100% believe in that. Look, the Rockets' first thing they need to do is they need to find a coach.
Absolutely.
Second thing they need to do, I don't know how they're going to do it, but needing to find some way to get some money because they have no cap space.
Trading Russell
Westbrook. Have no flexibility. They are stuck. They are stuck because Harden and Westbrook gain, I think, $80 million or $90 million between the both of them.
Westbrook. Don't say Harden and Westbrook because Harden deserves the money he's getting.
Don't forget Eric Gordon.
Yeah, Eric Gordon, he's making I think 14 to 16 million a year, or I think 18 around that number.
I think it's 18.
But the thing about it is that Westbrook, you cannot trade Westbrook and get equal value for him.
Oh no, I would do anything I could to dump him
But that's the thing. I don't think I'd do that because if you dump Westbrook in a trade and you don't get equal value back, you're not getting better. You might be getting worse, actually, because as bad as Westbrook is in the playoffs because he can't shoot, he is still great in the regular season.
All right, so Westbrook 43 mil, Harden 43, Eric Gordon 18, Robert Covington 12.
Oh yeah, they don't have any flexibility but I know Rockets fans,
and you have to pay PJ this year.
I know they're already working on an extension. I know Rocket fans don't want to hear this. Maybe they do. Maybe they feel this sentiment. If I'm the Rockets, and I hope Tillman Fertitta sees this as well, because he said he doesn't want to blow up the team because he has Harden and Westbrook. Trade Harden. Just get him out of Houston. Harden needs to win a championship. He's not going to win it in Houston.
Where is he going to win it?
He'll win it. He can win it in Philly. He could win it in Toronto. He goes in. He could win it in a lot of places. James Harden, he could win a championship. He's one of the top 5, 6 players in the world. He can definitely win it.
I agree with you. I think
the Rockets, for everything James Harden has done for that organization, need to give him the benefit of the doubt and let him go and let him thrive somewhere else and give him a chance.
And that would be a very nice sentiment, but at the end of the day, they have to think about themselves, and I would much rather, 1,000 times out of 1,000, trade Russell Westbrook and get less value back than trade James Harden, who I think is one of, if not the greatest perimeter scorer of all time, and one of the 7 guys in the league that I think could be the best player on a championship team.
This is where I don't like
You
that.
can take the hit by getting slightly worse in a Russell Westbrook trade.
I don't think you can.
If you have the money. People will want to play with James Harden. You're coming up on a great free agency class next season.
They got to get capped, man.
I don't agree with that because what team would want to trade for Westbrook outside of these bad teams? Okay, who are the Knicks going to give that are going to make the Rockets better?
Anything. Literally anything.
I honestly don't believe the Knicks' best player is Mitchell Robinson. I do not believe that
you're essentially getting another Clint Capella.
No, I don't think the Knicks trade Mitchell Robinson.
No, and they shouldn't. And you shouldn't.
I think that just shows how bad Westbrook's value is right now across the league.
No, they're not necessarily.
The Knicks wouldn't want to just
they don't want a contract. That's all it is.
And my question is, where are you going with Russell Westbrook? He's not getting any better.
What you going to keep him? What are you going to keep him for?
He's not getting any better. His jump shot isn't showing any signs
declining.
that it's going to. He's on the decline. You're paying him $43 million.
And
it's going to have to be a cap dump. And I do really like Westbrook, but I just think that he's at the stage in his career where any trade involving him would have to be a cap dump. It's the same thing with Chris Paul.
I agree with that as well.
The Thunder are going to lose value in a trade with Chris Paul, but it just makes sense for them to get that contract off the books.
It's different.
They set themselves up.
OKC wants to do that. They want to rebuild. Houston is looking at this, and they want to win a championship. You're not going to get closer to winning the championship trading Westbrook. That's why it's so hard to trade him because you don't go anywhere. That's why, in my opinion, if you're going to trade Westbrook, just get Harden out of there. Just trade him too.
So if you trade Harden, he's a bigger value. So essentially, you're going to blow up another team to get James Harden. So say, for example, you trade him to Toronto. Who you want to get back? You're probably going to have to get Pascal.
It's going to be insane.
The value is going to be insane. So him going there essentially is going to wipe out their team. He's going to have to start anew there. They're not going to win a championship.
The best partners in a deal would be the Sixers, and you would have to get one of Simmons or Embiid back. But and even so, it's like, what are either of those guys doing with Russell Westbrook? Nothing.
You can't trade Harden.
I think the Rockets just need, if they're going to go the route to trading these players, they have to trade both. They have to trade Westbrook and Harden. And then
you're going into a total rebuild. I think that it makes more sense.
They have to do that. Even though they don't have no first-round picks. So
got to get them. Now's the time to get them.
I think that the best way for them to do it would be to trade Russell Westbrook. Maybe you get worse next season. But it sets you up for a big free agency class to have some money. You might have to get a little worse, but you will get better in the long run.
The thing is, I don't even think trading Westbrook gives them a lot of money in free agency. They're really backed up with their cap.
If they keep overpaying guys,
I think Westbrook, sending him to another team, I don't think they have enough cap to sign a star player.
Maybe not this upcoming offseason.
No, I know, but I'm talking about 2021. They don't, because Eric Gordon's going
to
be on the
have
books.
to give up Westbrook, Harden, and Covington.
Like they're really strapped. They're really strapped.
What about if you get Eric Gordon's contract off the books?
you can probably get another good player.
If you're trading Gordon and Russell Westbrook, you're blowing the team up essentially.
And I think that the team needs to be blown up. You mentioned it. If
Harden is 31, 32, one of those. I think he might be 31. You can't just blow the team up when he's 31. You got to try to win now.
But I don't think he's declining it. Like, I think that you're going to get another good 2 to 3 years out of what he is right now. Maybe slightly worse, but still at a level that he can be by far the best player on a championship team. And you mentioned the biggest problem with these Rockets was Russell Westbrook. So no matter what you do to, it's like if you have a chip in your paint on the wall, you could do anything else you want in the rest of the house, but when people walk in, they're going to see the chip in the paint. Russell Westbrook is that chip in the paint. No matter what you do to surround him, he's still going to be there, and he's still going to be a liability because at the end of the day, he is like Ben Simmons without Ben Simmons' size. He's great.
I think he needs to go too. I totally agree with you, but I don't think he goes and Harden can withstand another rebuild and still play at an MVP level. My prediction, this is a hot take, but I think that Harden's contract is up in 2 seasons. I think he goes to the Lakers when his contract is up and plays with Anthony Davis.
Do you think LeBron would still be there?
I don't know. LeBron will be what, 38 by then? 38?
Yeah, probably 37, turning 38.
I think Harden would take a pay cut to play with the Lakers.
And I think LeBron would take a pay cut.
That was utterly
ridiculous
what I just heard. Pardon me, y'all.
James Harden to the Lakers. I'm calling it. He's going to win a championship. I know James Harden's going to win a championship. It's just a matter of when.
I don't think he declines his option for $46 million in 2022, 2023.
He wants to win, man. He said he's going to do it at whatever cost.
That's $46 million.
He'll get 20-something.
The thing is,
he wants to win.
The thing is, you're saying you don't think he could withstand another rebuild, but trading Westbrook, I don't think signals full-scale rebuild. I think that you could do a mini rebuild. Getting rid of Westbrook, it would bring in $40 million in cap as long as you don't spend that stupidly over the next season.
I'm saying that even trading Westbrook, they're still within the luxury tax. They're still over the luxury tax.
Even and they would have to dump some other contracts, but I don't think that those guys that you would be getting rid of would hurt you so much that if you were able to bring in another max contract type guy in that free agency class with Giannis, I don't think that the rebuild has to take that much time.